guys, welcome back. My name's Helen. This is Helen Harmer Home. If you are new here, welcome. It's lovely to have you here. And if you are returning, thank you so much for coming back and watching again. So this channel, we do all kinds of things about home, kind of homemaking, just basically getting our ducks in a row. That's what we do on this channel. And today I'm doing a lot of food prep and kind of making a few bits and pieces ready to set myself up for quite a busy week. So grab yourselves a cuppa, grab some snacks, and let's get on with firstly making some sourdough.
In a storm, I lost my sails.
So I am pretty much new at making sourdough. I think I've done it maybe 2 or 3 times in my life, and I tried to make my own sourdough starter and it didn't quite go so well. So for this time I have bought some freeze-dried sourdough starter off a guy from Instagram called Big Daddy Bakes. He's got a company called Highland Rise, and obviously from the Highlands of Scotland he does all different kinds of starters. So I got a mixed pack sent to me, and the one I'm doing is the rye starter and the honey starter. Basically you rehydrate those, he gives you instructions, you rehydrate them and then you feed them until they become active, and it takes probably about a week or so. So before I made my sourdough I had to spend a couple of days really getting this starter to peak activity, and that's what I'm doing now. So for the next kind of couple of shots you'll see me feeding the sourdough with flour and water, and basically that causes it to kind of do its thing. I don't really know the science behind it, but it starts rising and bubbling, and once it's kind of at its peak where it's rising regularly, that's when it's ready to use.
Wild and loud, I was just waiting, I was drifting out. I didn't know love till you found me. I didn't know love, lost in the sea.
So it's the next day now, and the next part of the process is to actually start forming the dough. So my starter has activated, it's regularly rising and falling, and I'm going to now make the sourdough, which will take another 24 hours because I'm making a wholemeal loaf and it takes that long for it to kind of activate and rise. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of doing now. So how are we all anyway? Let's get on to some good stuff. How was your week? How has things gone for you this week? Have you had a good one? Has it been relaxing? Are you managing with January? I am so over it, guys, so over it. I wish it was spring and summer, I'm not gonna lie. I'm trying really hard to take it slowly and enjoy the process, but yeah, I'm getting to the point where I'm so over it. More kind of slow, easy days for me to come, just to get through these next few months. And I've booked myself a little trip away just to get something to look forward to. It's only a couple of days in Filey, which is the seaside, but I can't wait. So yeah, let me know how you're doing in the comments. I hope you're okay.
Time, you move like water and taste like wine. You're holier than I am, holier than I am.
So I've got a little bit obsessed with sourdough. The reason being I've stopped eating processed breads, so like, you know, your normal loaves. For those who don't know, I had a gastric sleeve back in 2024, and I've lost nearly 10 stone now, 135 pounds, and Some things just don't sit right with me, and one of those is bread. However, sourdough bread is different, and I think it's because it has a lot less ingredients. I eat a lot less of it. I don't have a lot of it, maybe half a slice at a time. And only when I feel like I need something or want something a little bit extra. For example, at this time of year when just plain salad or whatever is just a bit, it doesn't really hit the same, does it, in winter when it's freezing. So yeah, that's where I've kind of started on this journey, and eating kind of more clean is not something that I was initially meaning to do. It's just that when I started looking into the whole like diet and processed foods, it just was shocking to me. I do a lot of bariatric coaching for a company in the US, and that has taught me so much about how to eat and food and nutrition and kind of processed foods and stuff. It is honestly an eye-opener. And I love it, so it is kind of practice what you preach. So I'm just making myself a coffee now. I do put collagen in my coffee. This is for skin, not for protein. I don't drink it for any kind of protein content. It is literally as a supplement for my skin. So it is pure beef collagen from Ancient and Brave, and it's the best one that I've found. It's tasteless, it like goes into your coffee really well, dissolves, that's the word. So that's the one that I found that is the best for me. So going back to the bread, doing a lot of stretch and folds. With it being a wholemeal loaf, it does take a while. So I stretch and fold maybe 3 or 4 times, leave it then, so 3 or 4 times in like 4 hours, so like once every hour. Then I'll leave it 2 or 3 hours, stretch and fold again, and then this loaf is going to go in the fridge overnight as an extra kind of proving process. It just helps the wholemeal flour develop because it's wholemeal. So I'm going to do that, and then we will get on with a proper day of cooking, prepping, and getting stuff done.
We got nowhere to be, just a slow dance with the summer heat. The world outside can't wait a few, 'cause right now we got nothing else to do.
So we are now onto the final stage. I have got my Dutch oven out. This is a cast iron dish that is the best for cooking sourdough in, and I am just kind of greasing and flouring that so the bread doesn't completely stick to it. And what I'll do is I will do the rest of the proving process today in that. So I will basically flour this, put the loaf in, stretch it and fold it a few more times, score the top, and then put it in the oven, and I bake it on 230, 20 minutes covered, so 20 minutes with the lid on, and then 20 minutes or so without the lid to give it a really nice colour. Now it is a wholemeal loaf, so it's going to be darker than a normal loaf, and it's not going to rise as much as like kind of your white sourdough loaf. But for me it's just perfect, so I'll show you that later on. We're going to go on now and start prepping some meals. So I tend to prep 3 or 4 meals at a time. I don't do like 7 days because I get sick of eating the same thing. But I'm going to do a chicken tray bake, so basically chicken with herbs and spices, loads of veggies, and then I'm going to do some quinoa, and then we're going to do some other bits and pieces as well. So the main kind of meal prep dish which I'll have for lunches is the chicken bake and quinoa.
like that. Yeah, it feels like that. Na 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 na. Feels like that.
So we're going to get on with the quinoa now. I buy it in packets like this, it's really cheap, and I just boil it up myself. You can get it ready made, but I just find it's a doddle to make. So I put 1/2 to 1 cup in a pan, twice the amount of water, so in this case obviously 2 kind of measures of water. Then I bring it to the boil, so put it on the heat, bring it to the boil, wait till most of the water's evaporated, and then I put the lid on and leave it. And for me that works well. I obviously add a little bit of salt there. I tend to find that I will eat the couscous with something else, because it is not massively flavourful, but it's fine for me. I like it, it's tasty enough. The other thing I'm going to do now is I got this broth mix, so it's lots of like lentils and bits and pieces, and I wanted to add this to some soups and stews during the week, but you have to soak it, so that's what I'm doing now. I'm just measuring a couple of cups out, soak it overnight in water, and then I'm going to cook it in chicken broth, put it in an airtight container and add it to bits and pieces during the week. So that's just another little way that I add protein to my meals, is through the kind of beans, peas, lentils broth mix. You can see here the quinoa is starting to cook. Obviously it's got quite a lot of water in, so you need to make sure that it boils to where the water is almost evaporated before you put the lid on. It's a bit of trial and error, but I find it works really, really well. Very similar to cooking rice. So I'm going to take the lid, the tin foil, off the chicken and let it just brown a little bit longer in the oven before I take it out and then put it in the containers. I then will kind of let it cool completely before putting the lids on and store it in the fridge for the next few days. And like I say, this will be my lunches. I tend to try and portion like one of my portion sizes out, but sometimes it's just either a bit too much or I can't eat all of it, so it does maybe last me a couple of meals during the day. So actually goes quite far, really.
Why won't you come back home? I've been sleeping with the light on dim. The dark feels heavier without you in. And every chord I strike cries your name. Won't you come back home again? Stars fell out, the moon turned gray. The wind keeps whispering your name my way. I've counted the hours, I folded the time, but nothing brings you back to mine.
So I forgot to say, when I took this chicken bake out, I actually put my bread in, and then there was a time gap between putting the bread in and me now taking it out. So it is a little bit later in the day, so it has kind of think it's like 40 minutes or so later. So I did also burn it a little bit. You are kind of not, your eyes aren't deceiving you. It is darker than maybe I would have loved it to be, but it doesn't really matter. It's not a big deal. It is, like I say, a wholemeal loaf, so it is probably darker than normal, and darker because I left it a little bit too long. But I'm really, really pleased with it, and actually when I cut it, it was the perfect kind of sourdough texture, so I was really pleased. So what I do is I leave it till it cools, I cut it into slices, and then I will freeze it, and then take out each individual slice as and when I want it. Only me that eats this, so it doesn't matter that I cut it like a 5-year-old, basically.
And every chord I strike cries your name. Won't you come back home again? I left the hall light on in case you come back home. Never been sure where faith begins. Guess I'm still waiting for something to hit. I whispered questions till midnight winds. Not sure if someone's listening. Lying here silent, your hand on my skin. Feels like it's an answer or close enough to it. 'Cause I don't know where we go when I face.
So I'm going to make myself a coffee, and I'm going to clean up the kitchen a little bit, do the dishwasher before I start on a few little bits and pieces. So I want to make some granola, I want to make some protein bites, and I want to roast some chickpeas. So kind of those are the snacky elements to my week meal prep. But let's talk about highs and lows of the week, because we are in January, and we've just had Blue Monday, which is ridiculous because, you know, the whole of January for me is a blue blinking month, so Blue Monday is not even a thing in my life. I do suffer a little bit with January, and I think it's because Christmas is over and done with, and it's still cold, it's still dark, it's still kind of winter, but there's no fairy lights and lovely excitement. It's just kind of waiting for a new season, and it is very much a wait and hibernate kind of month, isn't it? So I am trying to embrace that. But my high of the week is really that it has been nice work-wise. I've had an easier week. It was crazy the first 2 weeks of January, so this last week has been a lot steadier, a lot gentler. I've got a lot done, and I've had some fabulous coaching conversations with people. I also coach for the NHS, doing a pre-diabetes course, and that's been going really, really well. Meeting some lovely, lovely people on that as well. So yeah, just that's going great. Low points of the week is obviously the January weather. It has been wet this week, so I don't mind the cold, and when it's lovely, bright, sunshiny skies and cold, that's fine. I can get out, we can go walk the dog, it's fine. But when it's wet and windy, which is what it's been this week, I just struggle because I do feel like it's just not as fun. I could still go out and walk, but it's just not as fun. So yeah, that's been my low point, I suppose, to the week. Not being so great, but we get through it, don't we? And I think one of the things is I'm really leaning into that whole positive thinking and feeling like this is a rest and hibernation month. Also, can we say how gorgeous Honey is? She is my absolute little angel. I love playing with her, and she is so fun. But she's a fair weather dog, so I opened the back door the other day and it was raining, and she just looked at me as if to say, get lost. I am not going out in that. And it is a little bit hard to make her go out to the toilet. She is a proper diva. She's like, no, it's raining on me. But yeah, she's gorgeous, isn't she? So I'm now going to go and roast some chickpeas. These were the smallest chickpeas I've ever seen in this can. I use these for snacking and for topping salads and stuff. So basically you want to get your chickpeas, drain them really, really well, rinse them really, really well, sorry. I then put mine in a tea towel, a clean, dry tea towel, and get all the moisture off them. I then put a little bit of olive oil on, salt, paprika, garlic powder, onion powder if I've got it, and whatever I can find basically, and I rub it in really, really well, and then I roast them on between 150 and 180 in the oven for about 40 minutes, depending on how much I've used my oven and how hot it is. And I keep an eye on them, shake them very frequently, because they take a while, and then once they catch, they burn really quickly. So you do have to keep an eye on them. If you have an air fryer, then yes, you can do these in the air fryer too. I'm also going to quickly make some granola. This is a really, really simple recipe. It is literally oats, nuts, peanut butter. Or did I put... No, I didn't put peanut butter in this time. So scratch that. It was oats, nuts, olive oil, flax seeds and pumpkin seeds. And I can't remember what else. If you want in the recipe, just put a message below and I will do that. But there are tons and tons out there. I love granola on my yogurt in the morning, and I don't, again, eat the ones from the shops because they have lots of added sugar in, which lights my little brain up like a Christmas tree and makes me want lots of chocolate and sweeties. So I make my own, and this works well for me.
Countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday, baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey, come on now and take my hand.
So I don't always meal prep. This is a good week. Some days I just kind of, or some weeks should I say, I just make sure I've got lots of kind of healthy protein snacks in the fridge, like hard-boiled eggs and things like that, and like roast chicken that's already pre-cooked, and I just kind of have weeks like that. But when I have time, prepping definitely helps me keep on track and helps me kind of not worry about what I'm gonna eat. And sometimes that decision fatigue is real, isn't it? We kind of have a long day at work, we don't know what we're gonna have, so we end up eating rubbish, or we just don't know what to snack on and we end up turning to a biscuit or a packet of crisps. And so I find if I do this, I'll have like a handful of granola and some yogurt instead of like a chocolate biscuit, and it just helps with those cravings. I got a pack of dates at Christmas, and I'm not a massive date fan, so they didn't go anywhere. You know, we didn't sit and eat them as like, you know, like a snack. I wouldn't do that. They're not my favourite. So adding them to the granola is one way of getting that sweetness in without adding things like your maple syrup or your honey. And it just kind of gives it a little bit of an extra kind of texture as well. But cutting dates is so hard, isn't it? I mean, you'll see I have an absolute mare in a minute with the protein balls that I make. But they are so sticky and so annoying. If anyone's got any tips, I don't know, is it easier if you soak them? I don't know. But yeah, these were really, really annoying to cut and then distribute evenly through my granola. But I put this on a baking tray in a thin layer, and then I cook it for around 20 minutes just so it's nice and golden brown. and then I will put it in a jar and it'll save for the whole week. And I don't make masses because again it's only me who usually eats this.
Take this weight off my shoulders, 'cause I know yesterday ain't coming back. I'm gonna let the past stay in the cold. I will listen to the ocean, let its unsaid words be spoken, and I'll let my mind be carried by the waves. Oh, I will open up my eyes so I can see the light. Oh, and I'll try to spread my wings so I can fly. Oh, and the darkness starts to fade, feels like things are gonna go my way. I'm gonna let the sun shine in the day.
Okay, so we'll leave them to cook and we'll make these protein balls. So I basically have dates, peanut butter, protein powder. Now I'm very fussy with protein powder. I only get it from the organic protein company. Again, it's the only one that I found that has got very clean ingredients. If you look at the back of some protein powder packets, it's got all kinds of stuff in, and you know, that's a personal choice. You have that if you want. It's just, if I'm going to supplement with anything, it has to be something that I basically know is clean and is not going to kind of fill my body with a load of rubbish that I spent months and months and months trying to kind of, you know, heal and you know, lose weight and try and be healthy. Again, it's a personal choice, but the one I use is a cacao powder with protein in it from the organic protein company. It basically, this recipe has oats, dates, protein powder, peanut butter, and I think that's about it. I used my hand blender to mix it, and to be honest, it was an absolute waste of time. Oh, and they've got nuts in as well. I put a few nuts in as well for texture. The hand blender nearly burnt out because of the dates, so in future I would need to chop the dates up really finely by hand before I do this. Again, unless you guys have got any tips on how to, you know, like mince dates before you put it in, like this kind of recipe, then it's just a case of rolling them into little balls and putting them in the fridge and keep storing them in the fridge. You only need one of these protein balls a day, and they are really dense, really filling, and just give that little hit of sweetness and something if you are craving a little bit of, you know, something different and extra that you're wanting. So I missed the video clip, I don't know where I put it, of me rolling these into balls, but it's not rocket science. You just basically, once it's all mixed together, roll them into smaller, a little bit smaller than golf ball size. They are really quite rich and quite filling. You do only need one, like I said, and it just gives that little bit of sweetness, like I was saying before, instead of like a chocolate bar or something, and it just has that hit of protein to keep you fuller for longer. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's been really good to get back on track and do some food prep, and I really enjoyed making this video, so it's going to really spur me on to do this more often. I'm going to end by putting the granola into a airtight container, and then the broth mix I am going to put in a pan and leave that for tomorrow, when I'm going to do basically boil it up with some chicken stock and then put it in some airtight containers to add to some stews and soups that I'm going to make over the next week as well. So have a fantastic week, guys. Thanks for joining me today. If you've got to the end of the video, I would love it if you put in some kind of cooking emoji in the comments so that I know that you've got to the end. That would make my day. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and like my channel. I have been away for a while and I'm trying to build it up again. I have missed you guys so much and it's just so lovely to be back. So if you wouldn't mind liking and subscribing, that would be awesome and it helps me out loads. Have a fantastic week and I will see you in the next one very soon.
The world outside can't wait a few, 'cause right now we got nothing else to do. The sun is peeking through the cotton white blinds, your hands still tangled up in mine. Feet on the wall, your head on me, floating easy. We got nowhere to be, got nowhere to be. Your hair's a mess, but you don't mind. You just laugh, let it fall.